Hi, hey, hello. If you're new here, my name is Rain. If you're not new here, welcome back. I appreciate you stopping on by to my little corner of the internet. And so, since it's the holiday season for a lot of people, I did want to create like a bonus video for the month of December. I definitely don't have it in me, and didn't, obviously, we're nearing the end of the month now. I didn't have it in me to do one of those like 7 days of videos or like Vlogmas type stuff, but I did do about as close to a vlog as I can get with college finals and early Christmas in my family, a new internship that I'm starting and stuff like that. So in this video, we're going over just a week of me sketching. I only sketched out like 5 things throughout the week that I'm filming, and one of them I completely covered and didn't record, so that's non-existent to the video, but I do 4 drawings in this video, and it's just me at my work desk late at night drawing away and doing my thing. So I hope you guys, if you're interested, draw along with me. We can just chill and draw together. Little doodles, nothing super interesting, nothing particularly like big and inspired, just the little stuff that comes to mind and the little references I found that I really wanted to do something with. So if you do draw along with me, let me know in the comments down below, or if you're on socials and you post your work, I would love it if you tagged me. I love to especially see what you guys work. One of my greatest joys in YouTube so far has been when people have their like subscriptions like public, or like they comment, so I'm like notified that someone subscribed or that they commented, and they have like their art as their profile picture. I'm just like, wow. It's just so cool to see all of your guys' work in your profile pictures and stuff like that. And then the other artists that follow me getting to like go to your guys' pages and watch your reels. Shorts, YouTube shorts. Watch your shorts and like videos and stuff like that. It's really nice to see the type of people who are coming into my community and wanting to be a part of my community, and people whom I might be interested in being a part of the community of as well. So it's been really, really fun. So yeah, if you draw along, be sure to keep me posted on that. I'm always interested. Even if you're not like a public artist or you're shy about your work, feel free to like DM me pictures of your art or tell me about it. I mean, I'm always interested. Art's something that I obviously care a lot about, so I'm always happy to see it, so no need to be shy about the quality of your work or how far you are with your work. This video is coming out after my video going over my, like, quote-unquote first sketchbook. I know it's a bit of a nuanced thing because there's technically 4 sketchbooks before it, but as you can see, I've definitely had, like, ups and downs in my creative work as well. You can always, I've mentioned it like 30,000 times before, so I'm sure people are really tired of hearing it. You can scroll all the way back to 2018 on my Instagram and see the first few things that I was posting back then. It's a time. So definitely, I'm not one to shy away from the beginner stages of art, documenting that progress and kind of the funny moments. Especially as you improve personally and you get to like look back on your stuff. You look back at your old art and you're like, oh wow, what was I even thinking? How did I produce that and like feel proud? It's one of the funnest parts of being an artist for me, is getting to look back at my old work that I was so proud of and be like, wow, I was proud of that? Oh, look at how far I've come. I think like the most nerve-wracking part is like, will I look back at my art in 5 years and be like, I was proud of that? Ew, what was I thinking? And be like almost ashamed of the work that I'm creating currently in the future, or be like, so embarrassing. That technique was so bad. When you're in the moment and you're creating your work, you feel so good about yourself. Or you feel like you're really making those huge leaps and strides in your work, and then a few years later you're like, what even is that? It's wild, especially because it's only been 2018, about 5 years since I really started taking art seriously in total. Even just looking at my art from like 2021 to this year, 2023, I'm like, what was I doing? I submitted that for a class unironically and thought it was good. If you can hear weird sounds, of course, cats as per usual. Need to disclaimer for the new people. I have a lot of cats. I have a lot of dogs. Noises happen. I do my best to edit them out. But Hyde is trying to climb a curtain right now, so, you know. He's making some noises. But yeah, it's really one of the more fun parts of the creative process for me, is like looking back at the work years down the line and really thinking about how I felt in that moment, and like learning to just kind of appreciate those beginner stages. As bad as you will grow to feel about some of that old work probably, or embarrassed you'll grow to feel, it's like, yeah, maybe it is a little embarrassing with where you're at now, but there's such an appreciation you have to have for your older self, or, well, your younger self, past you. Yeah, that, I confused myself with that one, but past you, for pushing through, feeling proud of that work, wanting to keep going, devoting themselves to it. There's just a pride I have in my younger self past me for really dedicating themselves to getting better so I can be here today. And I hope that in 5 years, even if my work is completely different, that I'll feel the exact same way. I'll feel proud of myself for continuing on this path. My cat is staring into my soul right now. Wow. Thanks, William. I'm glad you liked my little speech. Jeez. But yeah, ultimately, I only really ended up doing 4 drawings that I recorded for this video, and I was gonna film bits and pieces of the actual recording process, how I set up my camera and stuff, but then I remembered that I work at a very small desk with no space, and that is not interesting. All of these more professional artists that I tend to see, or just a lot of even smaller artists I tend to see, have an art desk, and I very much do my job, my school, and my art in the exact same space, and it's very much just a absolute chaotic mess of appointment meetings, sticky notes, documents, scheduling, textbooks, school notes, planners, sketchbook, paper scraps. It's really messy and not particularly interesting. I think my organization's pretty solid considering the circumstance, but it's definitely not aesthetic or pretty or even particularly fun to look at. I have some books that I'm really proud of. Not proud of, I didn't make them, obviously, but I'm really happy with, and I love to talk about. I'm proud of the people who made the books, and I'm look at this thing they made. They're totally famous, and tons of people know them, but look at this book. I have 3D publishing books where I'm literally every art book is ever produced by 3D publishing, but have you seen this one? Yay. So I have some of those at my desk that I could probably have shown you guys, but I was just you guys really don't need to see my rug that I film art go over videos on in my storage, tiny closety sized space where my cats eat and they keep getting food everywhere. It's nah, I'll just give you guys some nice fun sketching for the holidays. So yeah, I do hope to create more vloggy style art in the future, to be able to show you guys my artistic process throughout a week, or how I'll approach coming back to the videos. I know with my digital and a lot of my traditional work you'll see multiple days of the process, but I don't feel I go over that process, that experience, the time away from it, or really actually distinguish the different days too well. I feel like I'm just like, I worked on this for a week, and then I don't tell you where like the start and stopping of different recordings are, and it's just kind of a mess. So the Pyrenees is barking, so I'll probably get back to this voiceover a little bit later, but I hope you guys are enjoying so far. I didn't think it was going to be like multiple days later when I got back to this voiceover. Well, more like a day and a half. So I did listen back to my previous chunk of the voiceover, but I actually like don't remember the train of thought I was going down really. My internship started Monday, so I was recording that voiceover part on Sunday. My internship started Monday. It was supposed to start last Monday. And long story short, the organization of the internship portion of the place I'm interning at is non-existent. Like, the organization for who's coming in, who's leaving, what positions need to be filled, who needs training, who doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So I'm kind of, what I was hoping would be a pretty relaxing last week of work, because I work for a school. Like, my paid job is tutoring part-time, so I have a week and a half off. I start work again on like the 4th of January or something like that. What I thought would be like a really relaxing last week of work before the holidays and all that ended up being like the craziest 2 days so far. It's Tuesday night right now, so yeah. I'm very much scatterbrained, and in terms of the time scale, I need to have this audio done by Wednesday night, because I have meetings Thursday and I want to have this video edited to go up Saturday or Sunday, because my family's celebrating Christmas on Saturday, but I don't want to post on Christmas Day, which is Monday, and I don't want to post on Tuesday because then it's too close to my Thursday video and bonus content, and I want to bid you who celebrate Christmas happy holidays. So, which, by the way, happy holidays. I'm very unfamiliar with the dates of other holidays, but overall, whatever holiday you celebrate, I hope you're having the happiest of holidays right now. And if you're not, I'm sorry about that, and feel free, if you need to vent about it, you can vent in the comments. My comments are a safe space, and I do hope that everyone is having the best holidays that they can be having, considering the circumstances and all of that jazz. For those who don't celebrate any holidays, I hope you're not suffering anything particularly bad, like Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas, playing endlessly and torturing you, and bad Christmas movies. I hate both of those things, personally. It's okay if you like them. But I'm very much not a particularly festive person. I don't like Christmas music. I hate Christmas music, actually, and I hate Christmas movies, so I'm not particularly festive in my celebrations, but I do hope everybody is enjoying what they're given, especially if you're in school and you're on a break or you get time off from work. I hope you're definitely enjoying the peace that's provided. Otherwise, the festive season can be a little bit of a downer, I suppose. But generally, it does give me a lot more time to work in my sketchbook. I don't feel like I actually usually get... I guess I finished like 2.5 pages, technically speaking. I filled, maybe more like 2-3 pages. 3 pages? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's more space I can use that I haven't filled yet, and it makes me want to fill it more, but I don't really need to. There is stuff there, but I don't feel like I usually get this much done in a couple of days. I feel like it generally takes me like a week and a half to get a page done. I don't feel like I actually sketch in my sketchbook all that often, or even sketch stuff that I don't like toss all that often. That sounds weird, but I feel like I sketch a lot on like the backs of syllabi I have for work, or little sticky notes with plans and last minute meeting dates and times, and I just burn those because we have a fireplace when those go away, and so the art doesn't really get preserved. But I don't know. It's usually I doodle on things that end up getting disposed of, and so I don't really feel like I make this much progress. And it felt really good. It felt really nice to have progress in my sketchbook that was more tangible. What I found with Sketchbook 9 is that within the first month and a half of having it, I think I only filled 1 page, maybe 2. There's something about where I was with my academics at the time where I really just didn't have a lot traditionally that was going on, and I had a very heavy digital workload. And I kind of found with that I didn't really actually dedicate the time to my sketchbook that I usually would like to. And I also found that the things I enjoyed sketching, I didn't even really indulge in until the end of the year. So, the biggest chunk of my sketchbook, you can kind of see it. I was maybe halfway, not even, through my sketchbook in June when I started my channel, and I just breezed through the rest of it. And I don't know, I really want to not do that this year. I want to go into the early half of 2024 spending time in my sketchbook like I did at the last half of 2023. And I want to be able to make more consistent progress on finishing my sketchbook, not because finishing a sketchbook within a year or because finishing a sketchbook quickly is important to me, but the actual process and experience of dedicating a consistent enough portion of my life to my sketchbook and creating good and bad art. I know it's subjective, not really one definitive good or bad, but to really just make myself sit down and spend a little bit more time with it, I think is going to be very much good for me, mentally speaking and creatively speaking. My Sketchbook 8 started as a 20 minutes of something new sketchbook. I know you guys haven't seen it yet, but it was basically a sub sketchbook to the sketchbook I was in. Confusing, right? Where I just spent 20 minutes of my day drawing something I wasn't good at, doing something I wasn't good at, playing with a medium I wasn't good at, drawing something that I don't usually draw, things like that. The first bit was cats. I'm horrible at drawing cats. But cats, drawing from not life, but drawing random objects in pen and creating things out of odd shapes and practicing perspective and drawing weird facial expressions and things like that, practicing head anatomy and stuff that I just was not great at, or I didn't actually spend a lot of time and thought with. And in that, I felt like that sketchbook was just so fundamental to me developing and actually finding my style. By the time I was done with Sketchbook 8, I actually had gotten to a point artistically where I had a more recognizable style. I had a recognizable style that I was happy with and I was settled with. I feel while there was a definitive, recognizable way that I drew and the work I presented, it changed so frequently because I wasn't actually happy with it and settled with it. It was good, it was attractive, I liked it, but it wasn't me. And some people just never find a perfect style and they bounce back and forth and their style is fluid. And I do have that with different mediums, but I feel when you're creating art and you're consistently producing work that's of the same quality, you can tell when the style of it just isn't quite you yet. I don't know if that makes sense, but I liked the work, but I didn't feel like I was there. And by the end of Sketchbook 8, I had really figured out more of those qualities and those components to my art and those more stylistic features that really made me feel like my art was my art and my art was the style I wanted it to be in. So I do want to kind of return to that a little bit. I don't necessarily feel like I need to dedicate 20 minutes of my day every day to something new, at least not in this sketchbook, because the quality of it is a little bit, I don't want to say better, but it is like different than Sketchbook 8. Like Sketchbook 8 had horrible quality paper, and the cover was a texture that really bugs my neuropathy. So it was more so I wanted to get rid of that sketchbook as soon as possible, and that was kind of part of the decision. I do kind of like the sketchbook I'm in right now. It's not wonderful, it's not my favorite quality paper that I've ever used, but I do like the smooth cover. It's very much something that I enjoy, and I do like the long rectangle, smaller size. It's generally what I prefer. Paper's not the best paper I've ever used, but it's a good sketchbook. I do want to, if I'm going to be practicing stuff that's really throwaway for me, I do want to do it in a sketchbook that I don't care about as much or want to be able to use stronger mediums in. I want it to be like bad paper that I'm like don't want to commit an entire sketchbook to. I was surprised I even like finished Sketchbook 8 by making it my sketchbook, you know. I was originally going to be just 20 minutes of something new. It was going to be a sub sketchbook that never actually got put in my anthology, which I realize this is probably such a boring topic and I'm just going off. But yeah, I do want to do something similar to that this year, or at the very least fill maybe a spread a week or something like that, maybe more, put more of that in. So when it comes to the actual like process of going through and starting my year, I do want to make my sketchbook more of a habit in 2024. It's not like a New Year's resolution. I don't do things like that. I do sketchbook goals for the sketchbook itself, but it's not a resolution, but it is something I want to be doing more of. And so I'm hoping to, if you guys like this content, do a few more art vlogs to go with my sketchbook sessions, so you guys are getting to see everything I create within a week instead of me just sitting down and doing one page, one spread, finishing a page. That way you guys can see a little bit more of the like in-between work that appears in my sketchbook. Although I do feel like it can be kind of boring. Sometimes there's just spreads and pages of thumbnails and thinking, and I suppose those aren't necessarily the like most interesting of my work. So I don't know. Whatever your guys' thoughts are, let me know. It might be helpful to go through Sketchbook 8 one day and show some of the weird stuff that came out of it. But I also really was like in love with my fun, more hyper pop Posca art at the start of the year, and just somewhere along the way in Sketchbook 9, my excitement to create that art didn't compare to the feeling like I needed to keep pushing through the sketchbook, and it didn't feel like the sketchbook was worthy of those fun paint drawings that I was doing on toned paper. And I do want to go back to that, and I do want to do a couple of more Genshin characters. I very much like Nouvelette's hair, and I do want to figure out how I want to do white hair. I haven't ever done it before with paint, and I don't know, I'm really excited for that one. That one's very much something I want to do, and so I am hoping to do that soon. I probably won't get to it this year since only a couple weeks left, and I am going to be working on my best and worst video. I spent a little bit of time today looking through my photography and thinking about if I want to add any of that. Another reason I didn't spend anywhere near as much time in my sketchbook at the beginning of the year was because I was taking photography to substitute my inability to take ceramics. I don't think that ever got talked about on my channel. It might have though, but because I can't take ceramics with my condition and my inability to go to campus, I was allowed to substitute photography for it because it captures three-dimensional stuff, I guess, was the logic. And so I was taking photography, and so a lot of my work was digital. I was editing pictures, doing assignments, I had to take, I think, 50 to 75 photos a week. So I was spending a lot of time with that, editing some of them. I had to have, I think, 3 to 6 final photos, or like 5 final photos that were fully edited to my liking and met the criteria. So I was putting a lot of time into that class, and life drawing, which is done on bigger paper, and I tend to work on it in a bigger sketchbook. So yeah, I will definitely be having to go through a lot of that work. Most of my worst work of the year was created for academic purposes. I just feel like my academic assignments are just like never anywhere near as good as the stuff I make for YouTube and for myself. So I definitely have a lot of questionable and just like not great life drawing projects I've done this year that I'm gonna get to show you guys. So yeah, I've been spending some time this week sorting through that. I also didn't include that in this kind of vloggy experience because frankly my art is everywhere. I have some in like a massive portfolio, some in like dark room storage container thingies. They're like foldable boxes that are like black for storing art and like keeping it or from being exposed to the sun and like all of that stuff. I have like few of those. They're just like basic cardboard boxes. I don't know why they're considered special. I don't know, but yeah, they were supposed to be special boxes. I think they're very basic, and like shoe boxes would be of equal quality, maybe better quality. But yeah, I very much have been like running around my studio space, which is not really more than turning in a circle, looking in a corner and being like, is it there? Just going through my social media feed, seeing the stuff I've posted, going through my old class submissions, seeing what I submitted to try and figure out what came from this year. I feel like I get really strong art haze where there are a few illustrations that I did last year and I was like, oh yeah, I totally made them in 2023, and then they were from like early 2022, and I was like, really? Where did the time go? You know, and it's been kind of an odd experience really trying to figure out what came from the beginning of this year. I am hoping that YouTube helps me to do that so that in December of 2024 I can look back to January of 2024 and be like, okay, so this is when I started my art anthology for 2024, and it makes this a little bit easier. But I've been having a really hard time figuring out what came from what year. It's very much all blurred together, and I suppose that's not the worst in the world. I guess it does make me feel a little bit better about the consistency of the art that I've been creating since the start of 2022. Sketchbook 8 into Sketchbook 9 into Sketchbook 10 have been all consistent enough that I can't really tell just by looking at it exactly what year it came from. Has been kind of nice, like style-wise. Some of them is like quality-wise you can tell, but at least at this like midpoint of 2022, I had found my style enough, and I've been consistent with it enough that I think I am really starting to feel at home within my own art, which is weird to say, but I no longer am at a point in my kind of beginner art journey where I don't know what my creative objective is. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like there's a lot of pressure when you start creating to, like internal pressure, not external pressure, but internal pressure to find your style, and you don't need to. I really don't recommend caring about finding your style. I kind of more so live in the mindset of your style will find you. As you practice and you experiment with mediums and styles and you push yourself to learn new things, I do feel like the things that feel natural to you artistically will kind of just stick, and that was how I developed my style. I also did a lot of style studies. I'd look at an artist I really liked and I would emulate the features, and I would see I don't like how it feels to draw like that. I don't like how coloring like that feels and things like that. And it kind of just came through experimentation, and so it's very comforting to be able to look back at my consistency over the last year and a half-ish, and be able to think to myself, like, really, hey, I think I've finally settled in to a style where I am comfortable, and I feel like my art is expressing good enough. I don't know how else to articulate it. I mean, I definitely experience those strong feelings of like I have an idea but I don't know how to execute it, but I found the style part of it where I can at least try, and in trying I can really learn and feel good about the experience of failure. Like it feels good to fail now, because I know that it's like just my style is set in stone, and so that failure is really just an execution and a comprehension thing. And it's not like my vision isn't my style not matching my imagination, which is like, it was one of my biggest hurdles as an early artist. I was like, I envision these things, but I don't have the stylistic capability and the stylistic skill to be able to make it look how I want it to. And so I didn't even realize I'd gotten to that point until I had to sit down and start sorting through my art, and I really am realizing it now. And it's been a very cathartic experience to like admit to myself that I think I'm finally happy with my art. I feel like I'm looking back on my old art from within the last year, and I'm no longer developing stylistically in a way where I'm like, I can't believe I used to have that as my art style, or I can't believe I used to draw eyes like that. And I know it'll happen in the future. My style will change, and I will re-go through the process of my style coming to me again, or the changes will occur throughout time. But it's been very, very magical and nice to look back at the art that I was so proud of in the moment and still be like, you know what, that's kind of good, and I kind of like that still. And so I don't think I would have even realized I'd gotten to this point if I wasn't sitting down and making this video for you guys. And I'm really appreciative that it's something you guys want to see, because I'm so excited to look at the art from the past year and be like, I still like it. It rarely happens to me where I look at the stuff I created in January and the stuff I created in December, and I'm like, I still love this work. And I'm just beyond grateful for you guys and the experience that this has presented me. And I feel like I never talk about the art in my video. Like, you guys are watching me do something entirely different than I'm talking about. But I am really, really appreciative of the experience that's kind of come to me these last, few days. I'm really looking forward to you guys getting to see that video for sure. In me now wanting to kind of cut off that train of thought, I did kind of fill up the part of the video where I was actively working on the little doodle I was doing for 500 subscribers. When I hit 500 subscribers, I actually had done the first page of my sketchbook, kind of, and it was supposed to be a 500 subscriber sketch. And then I kind of breezed through that 500 sketch to do the next page of the sketchbook, and I just didn't end up actually recording the process for the original sketch, and I didn't actually leave space for the 500 subs. I had a plan for it, and then I just got carried away. And so I kind of got to this point where I was a little bit past 500 subs, and it was starting to feel awkward that I hadn't said anything of appreciation for you guys yet. But I was also getting close. I'm 5:30 now, I think. I don't have my computer in front of me. And I was like, I don't want to do another self-portrait, so I'm going to harass my OC Eris, because what do I do when I don't have a plan? I make Eris suffer. I make her uncomfortable, and I make her suffer. So I know it's past the point in the video, but thank you guys so much for 500 subscribers and surpassing 500 subscribers. I've had so much fun recently getting to like engage with all of you guys, all of you new people here on my channel, engaging with me. I know I talked about it a little bit earlier, but the actual sketch has been like displayed now on the screen. The process has been documented. And so I did want to just like say thank you again for 500 subs, and that I really appreciate all of the comments of support. I really love talking to you guys in the comments. I very much enjoy making this content. This is a kind of safe haven creative outlet for me. I was really nervous when I started YouTube that I wasn't going to actually enjoy it as much as I imagined that I would. I don't know if that makes sense, but I had a feeling that I was going to just love the editing process, getting to record my art, editing it, talking about it, ranting. I'm a very ranty type of person. I'm sure you guys have noticed that I can just start talking about something and I can keep going and I can get off topic and all of those things, and that I just love to communicate and engage with people, especially in this more like indirect kind of manner. I very much enjoy these sorts of communications where I don't have to actually be engaging in the moment. I can be expressive and then get to replying and further engagement when I'm feeling good. When I find that actively communicating in person is very draining on me. I don't think as an introvert. I think it's just my issue with migraines and headaches. I find that sometimes people's tones can be a little harder on me than others, or conversations can cause a little bit too much like energy expense. It's hard to articulate, but in the more text environment, or where I can just create a reel or I can just reply to a comment, I find that this engagement process is a lot like easier on me, like mentally, not mentally, but like physically in the mind form. You know, headaches make the head hurt and it feels like my brain's on fire, but you know what I mean. And so it's been like, I finally get to talk about art with people. Even in my college courses where I'm engaging with my classmates, I don't even feel like I get to talk about art. I don't get to talk about the like creative process. I don't get to talk about their journey. I don't get to see their old work. We don't get to engage as artists. The only way we really ever have talked to each other is in the form of critique. And in that, it's just the artist statement and critique. Or even in the 100 and 200 level courses at my college in particular, we don't even require an artist statement. And so it's just, wow, you could use for some stronger shading there, or your line width can be a little bit thicker in the darker areas so that there's more dimension to it and all of that. And in that, I feel like we don't really talk about art and the process and the ideas and the thoughts. And I found a lot gets lost in the inability to explain your decisions. And in my artist statements, I don't want it to be about my decisions. I want it to be about my reasons, my reason for creating this piece and this theme. In my video about my art final, where I was talking about how my classmates really didn't seem to get my kind of intentions and my hopes with the piece, my more Baroque style approach and taking from Baroque color palettes, my artist statement was deeply personal for me. It was about the process that I discussed of religious kind of experiences with my disability, and how some rhetoric can be really hurtful, and how it was really hurtful to me. I wanted my artist statement to be about the emotion that I was venting there, and it's hard to talk about your emotions and then be like, technically, as an artist, I wanted to make the decision of a Baroque art style, and I took my color palette from these different pieces, and I wanted to do this type of line width for this reason, and dark background, and all of that stuff. It doesn't have that emotional connection. It doesn't hit emotionally the way I want it to when it's standing alone. I don't want to be articulating my artistic reasoning and my emotional reasoning necessarily at the same time. And I feel like enough of my artistic reasoning is passive for me at this point, where I'm not necessarily thinking about it actively as much as it's just kind of second nature, and I'm almost feeling that artistic reasoning. And so this kind of YouTube experience where I'm talking to you guys and I get to do both, and I get to just ramble about it and have it in this long form content, and I don't have to just have these big text posts, and I don't have to formulate this well-written essay-like structure for the academic reasons. I find that I'm just able to feel like an artist for almost what feels like the first time in my life. Like, I feel like an artist now. You know, when you're, I don't know, maybe you don't know, but when I was younger and people would talk about these great big artists and their fame and their money and their exhibitions and stuff like that, and people would be like, wow, they were just so famous. They've been in the Louvre and all of that stuff. And I falsely imagined what being in the Louvre was like as a kid. I interpreted it not as a bougie place where the best of the best gets shown. I interpreted it as a place where people got to meet the artist and talk about it. Because that's what I love in art, is art displays and art shows and more gallery type perceptions. I love when the artist is there and you get to talk to them and you get to learn from them and you get to communicate what you interpreted and then hear how they feel about that and all of that, because art is it's so external in a weird way. You just, as a viewer, as someone who loves to view art, as a viewer, I find that I don't always really initially perceive it the way it's intended. And, you have this fantasy or this idea of what might have been intended, and you don't know. And a lot of artists don't have available artist statements where you can see what their exact emotions and their thoughts were. And especially historically speaking, if it's not a painting about some sort of event that happened, some sort of religious tale or this historical moment, and it's just some sort of creative piece, were you striving for serenity? Were you looking to articulate and capture this perfect moment in your life? Is this the place you met your lover? Is this the place where you said goodbye to the most important person in your life? Like, we don't know if they don't tell us. You know what I mean? Why that moment, that place, that scene was important to them might be something that no one would ever extrapolate from that piece. And I find a lot of my work wouldn't necessarily tell you directly that it's about OCD and that it's about the feeling of chronic illness and your body failing you if it wasn't necessarily directly articulated, right? And so in that, I find so much joy in getting to engage with the work and having people express how much my work means to them, either from a strictly visual standpoint or from a meaning and an intention standpoint. It's been very nice. And I just don't get that in university. People don't really, well, some of them do. I've had a few classmates that are really supportive of me from a message standpoint. Like, I totally feel this, and it means a lot to me that you made work like this, but we're never in big groups, and so it's this point in time in my life where I'm on the internet and I'm reaching out to more people and being accessible to more people, where I'm really realizing that, like, my work could do something for someone one day, and that's a very magical feeling, because I wish I had more work like my own, or even just artists with similar life experiences to me that were talked about, so that I could I could have that role model, like artistic role model, or even just more disabled characters in the media. Discable. Definitely living my best life over here. Totally not tired at all. But yeah, 11 and 30 minutes to say thank you for 500 subs. Well, you know, now that we're so far into the final illustration or drawing doodle thing of the video, and you guys have seen most of the process, I should say I actually hated the sketch when I decided to color it in purple, and I definitely didn't expect to spend this much time with it. I really thought that I had messed it up, and I just didn't know how to make me feel good about the page. I didn't want to erase it because I did like it enough to preserve it, or I liked the experimentation with the body enough to preserve it, but it felt bland and the page was definitely needing something to me. Purple was just the color that I thought would look nice, really, but I don't know, I just wasn't feeling great, and I am oddly happy with this piece now. I wasn't expecting to come to a point where I'm like content with it, and I kind of like it, but that's definitely a testament to the creating and experimenting in your sketchbook is the point for me. I've mentioned it a billion times before. Second time I'm saying this in the video, but a billion times before, and everyone's tired of hearing it. I do feel that aesthetics aren't really important in a sketchbook. They don't mean anything to me. If sketchbooks are a place for me to have a creative outlet and pursue ideas and practice and all of that, and so it's within that I don't feel the need to make a page look good. I'm fine with bad art, quote unquote bad art, and I'm happy to create work that I hate, because every artist has those days where the art just isn't arting. Your hand's not doing what you want it to do, and it just isn't working, right? And I'm happy to have those moments documented in my sketchbook and to just feel them out. But I definitely wasn't expecting for this one to turn around so intensely. I only have one point that I'm not happy with, but I want to show it when I'm flipping through the pages and doing my outro. So we'll definitely get to that a little bit later. That aside, I did find that the background, the pure white of the space, was really bothersome overall, and I liked the sketch enough that I wasn't really interested in just filling it with other sketches. So my favorite complementary color pair is purple and yellow. I hate red and green, generally speaking, and blue and orange was like my middle school, elementary school colors, like sports team colors, and I just like have never gotten over that. I'm just like, I hate it. I never like grew out of that kind of, oh no, I don't like it at all kind of thing. So yellow and purple is my favorite. If I have to do something with complementary colors, it's always yellow and purple as my preferred option. Not that the other ones are like authentically bad. I just feel like I have more skill in yellow and purple, and having purple and not minding the yellow, I felt like a nice like deep orangey yellow felt really nice. A solid background was a way to fill the page, but not really kind of draw away from the sketch. It didn't require me do too much work. It wasn't like, it just kind of tied together the sketchbook page. It felt like a good solution overall to it feeling too blank, and I felt like it really suited the page next to it where I have a lot of the blue, and it's kind of like, it feels really cohesive, oddly, or more cohesive than I originally intended it to, and I just really like it. Yeah, I don't remember what Ohuhu color this is, unfortunately. I'll try to look at it later and swatch it and figure it out, but I don't know if I'll be able to. I feel like I'm horrible with actually showing my markers to the camera because I just kind of feel them out. I don't like look at the color name or the color number and I'm like, oh yeah, I want that color. It's always kind of just, this one is cap-wise most likely going to be what I'm looking for. Swatch it, see if it is, kind of thing. I find that the Ohuhu color names kind of annoy me. So many of them are like not accurate or just outright bad, and they bother me. And then I love hearts. I'm sure you guys have noticed. I love doodling little hearts on things. It feels cute. I don't know how else to articulate it. So I do put some hearts on the page. It fills up that yellow. It takes up some of the space. Is there a plot to this sketch? No. Obviously, I didn't have one coming into it. I just wanted to try and make the sketch feel a little less bad when I went in. And so I definitely wasn't like I didn't have a theme, I didn't have a plot. She's not doing anything in particular. I had thought about adding a bookshelf, but I hate drawing bookshelves. I'm sure you guys have seen my bookshelf drawings, or my drawings with bookshelves. I don't like drawing bookshelves, so I overall went against that one, obviously, but I was pretty into how this overall kind of came together. And by the way, when my hand is moving to the other sketchbook page on the left side, I'm trying to make my white gel pen not be an asshole. I'm trying to make it work. I don't know what it is. The Signo White Gel pen is the only gel pen I've ever had that's good. Like it's opaque and it works, but it gets clogged so bad for me. Even when everything is completely dry, that thing will just not work. And I have so many that I cycle through where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a minute. Sometimes I have to take a lighter to it, but I don't own like a personal lighter. I have one of those like long ones for starting fires, and I just don't know. So if you guys know how to make Signo White Gel pens not die, let me know, because I haven't figured it out in all of my years. Oh, wow, the cat's losing its mind. But I think it's just about outro time, so I'll see you live in my outro, like talking and holding the camera, because everybody loves when I'm holding the camera and shaking like mad. It's been a while since I've taken you guys outside and for footage, but my desk is too messy. So in terms of the like sketch with me, art vloggy type stuff, I covered a drawing of my OC Eris right here. You very, very briefly saw me going through the process of covering it, but her like shadow that I did in the pink pen and her foot are still extending. I am 50-50 on if I'm going to fill in the rest of this black. I'm not sure. I kind of like it how it is. You can see where I changed pens. This is an Expo marker. It is the only one that like really bled through, so not sure. I might go over that again, maybe in Sharpie. We'll see. I did ultimately end up covering her, like, rest of her legs. I liked how this looked. I wanted them to fit on the same page together. And I use these, like, artist crayons that I used to, like, also go over this. It looked good, and it looked okay as I had it in the video, like, up until this point. But as I was like working on this one, I tried to fix the problem point that I'll point out in a minute. I just like wanted to play with the crayons, and I wanted to just have that texture and that feeling to it, and just a bit more to it. It's not that it actually really changed the quality of it. I did want her streak to be a little bit darker, but ultimately it's not that different. Hi Ghost. It's not that different than how it was prior. It's just a bit more crayon-y, which was the point in using artist crayons. But this one, I can't hold my... Oh, I can! Nice! I was kind of pulling that up. That's fine. Her finger is so jacked. It's been bothering me. I kept trying to fix it, add definition. Her finger is really, really, really messed up. There's no fixing this. Her hand was an afterthought. Well, I was going to, I mentioned it before, add a bookshelf that she was pulling from. So like the fingers weren't like well defined. I was like, oh, I'll figure it out later, because I don't know what I'm going to have her grabbing, if she'll be touching it, the bookshelf, actually pulling the book away, things like that. And in that looseness, I kind of forgot to fix the hand before I went into coloring. And it looked okay when it was the purple marker. It was once the orange was added, orangey yellow was added, and I started like trying to line it, that finger just ended up really bent. So I hate that. I also had originally intended, I wanted it to be, so this is a bit more of a shifted weight. So this is a firm straight leg, right? And then this one's twisted a little bit more towards us. So this one's turned just a touch away. The calf is protruding a bit more. It's more of like a 3/4 thigh view. And this one's a bit more towards us. And I think I just made it a little bit too big compared to this one. Like, I guess this fatty, but like this like extra thigh meat would be more like right here. And it's generally getting hit by some light. Like, it's softer here. I wanted most of the shadow to be cast by the booty cheeks and the hair and stuff. Lighting wasn't a huge concern. You know, I'm playing, this is my sketchbook, I'm playing around, I don't care. Oh, hi Ghost. Hi Tail. But I just feel like this is too thick for how thin this thigh is, and this calf is a little bit too like bowed. Not bad. I did kind of fix it by darkening it, so like far away it doesn't look as strong. And can I have that back, please? Thank you. And then I added a little bit of white colored pencil right here just to give her eyes a little bit more of a normal look, like they were just deep purple. So I give them a little bit more life. Overall, the pose isn't bad. It's not necessarily well executed per se. I am probably gonna do a pose similar to this in the future just to actually get the anatomy down, but I really like how the coloring went. I didn't expect to just get carried away with colored pencils, and those colored pencils are so cheap and so bad and totally useless if you're not layering them over something, because they're horrible quality and they're hard to click out. Sometimes they just won't click out at all. So I only really use them for situations like this where I'm going over them in marker, right? Or going over marker with them. So ultimately, I'm very, very happy with how this page turned out. This is my favorite. I don't know if it's my favorite in my sketchbook so far. This page I'm saving to do a full colored sketch of this character that I was working on. I hate this page. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of torn between this page and this page. I like them both a lot. So I am very happy to be having more pages where I'm just like, wow, I really like that. And I just like sit and look at it, and it's nice. I like this one. I hate the finger, but I like this page. So ultimately, yeah. I also hate the hands on this one. I think I need to just dedicate a few pages to practicing hands. I'm thinking about going over this in paint and then painting just some really goofy little flowers, or doing more of these crayon ones. I'm not a crayon person. I really wanted to be when I got my like Ollie crayons. I wanted to love them, and I wanted to love my Caran d'Ache crayons. They're not, no, Caran d'Ache is too bougie of a brand, and those were cheap. Did I get them at a bargain bin? I have these like artist crayons. They're like actually call themselves artist crayons. And I just don't like them. Like, I would rather use Crayola crayons and have a wide variety of color for just adding texture than bougie art crayons. Like, I'm not happy with, I like the texture, I don't like the experience of using them. They're no more pleasurable to use than Crayola. But yeah, thank you for sitting through a little art vlog with me. I know it's not as fun as my sketchbook sessions usually are, probably, where I sit down and I really just dedicate time to a proper good sketch that I put a lot of effort into. This is the one I put the most effort into, probably, and I was just trying to save a bad page, which I did. I think I did save a bad page. I'm very much happy with how this turned out, so I appreciate you watching my little extra art vlog, and I hope that overall you have happy holidays if you celebrate, and I will have another video out before the New Year's, so I will, I guess, talk to you guys again in my best and worst of 2023 video. So I guess we'll be roasting the bad and praising the good next time I'm talking. Wow, that's just kind of wild to think about. So yeah, happy holidays. I'll of course post again soon, and I appreciate you watching my bonus content. I know it's different day of the week and all that, so. Oh, they're Niji artist crayons. Haha. Ha. I got them probably still in a bargain bin, but you know how it goes. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, wherever you are, and that if you like this video, like it, dislike if you dislike, comment if you have anything you want to say, or if nothing to say at all. I take rambles because I ramble. And subscribe if you want to see more of my content. Regardless, bye-bye.